Welcome to Virtual Antics, your go-to podcast for digital entrepreneurs, powered by Nadora.org and NG Virtual Assistant. We're here to guide you through every aspect of business, from networking to lead generation and so much more. Get ready to thrive in the virtual world with expert insights and our all-in-one solution, Nadora, where creating a digital business becomes a breeze. Let's dive in and revolutionize your business journey together. Welcome back to the Virtual Antics Podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Guzman, and today we have the owner of Limitless Empowerment with Rhonda J, and she is absolutely amazing. She helps people pleasers address their wants and needs to prevent burnout, say no, and create boundaries so they can live their best life. Welcome, Rhonda.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thanks for joining me. I'm so excited because, as you know, I've told you, I am a people pleaser. So this is something that I see in business over and over, especially with my clients over and over again. I was just telling you, I have 15 calls on my calendar today. And
Yes.
that's because I could not say no for some reason. Tell us a little bit more about, how you got into this, because it's super cool. And, and how are you changing people's lives?
Yeah, well, thank you. Like we discussed before, I am a card-carrying member of the People Pleaser Society. And last December, I had one of those, just moments of truth with myself where it's like, hey, we either going to continue on like this and my mental health is going to continue to slide, or we're going to find a new way. And so for the last 6 months, I've really been doing the work of examining why I'm a people pleaser, what am I getting out of it? And that got me thinking, well, I can't be the only one. I mean, I didn't make it up. I didn't say, hey, people pleaser, that's a thing. It's obviously something that we all, mostly women, and it's something we struggle with. And so I said, it's time for me to take what I'm learning and help others, because like I was saying, I was on the verge of burnout, and I have a past history of anxiety and depression. And those are my indicators that it's like, yeah, hidden danger zone, red flag, red flag. And so for the don't have indicators like that, I want people to develop that skill that, okay, I'm really burning out here. This is not good. And then, so you're burning out, what to do next. Okay. So it's like, if you have problems with saying no, problems with setting boundaries, that's where I come in, and we develop those skills. We figure out what the problem is with saying no, guilt, shame, fear, reaction from others. And then we take that, dismantle it, because to me, it's all about narratives that we've been told. And then in its place, we begin to learn how to set boundaries and say no in a way that's comfortable for you. So that's my goal in life. That is my passion, to help women like myself, overachiever, like give me more, goal oriented, realize that it's like, you are enough. You don't have to do all that, but you got to learn to say no. And you got to learn to set those boundaries.
Yeah, it's something that's really, really hard, I feel like, for especially not only women, but, business owners is, we're so scared about the loss of potential opportunity, right? So we say yes to everything, hoping that's the one thing that's going to push our business forward, when actually we are in control of the outcome. So we can, if we just take a minute to sit down, think about what the outcome we want and how we can get there and create like a precise plan, we're not having to guess and say yes to a million people.
Right, definitely. And I think that's part of the narrative changing, right? So we can start saying to ourselves, okay, I can be more strategic. It may be, maybe I need to step out of my comfort zone and do bigger things to get a bigger, ROI. It may mean a whole bunch of different things, but to me, we have to put the people pleaser over here, the scarcity mindset over there, and we have to begin to focus on what we really need. But that's hard because there's such a part of us. In fact, you kind of bring something to my mind, that a people pleaser and the scarcity mindset go hand in hand. Yeah. Because when we people please, we feel like there's not enough love. We got to keep doing things to keep getting that love at this level. But of course, as we know, it's like, it's never enough. So we got to keep giving more. Giving more until we give out. And like you're saying, especially with business owners, small business owners, where we, the whole thing is to keep connecting, keep connecting, keep making those connections, keep making those calls. We have to keep in mind that, where am I in this really? Am I giving each and every client? Did you give each and every client this morning your full attention, your full energy, your full power? And if you say no, then realize that that's okay. Maybe it's time to back up, time to back off a little bit. Like you said, maybe talk to your virtual assistant about, okay, piled up, I'm good for the next little bit. And I love that. I love that because you were able to say, no, I am where I need to be right now. That scarcity monster may come back to play. That people pleasing monster may come back in my ear, but I'm going to ignore them because I'm at capacity. And so it's so important. I mean, that's such a valuable lesson. It's so important to know what that feels like, to know what that means to you. That again, it doesn't mean stop. No one's saying you got to stop, shutter the business for like 5 or 6 months, even though it could. And that'd be okay too. It just means you have to take a step back. And that's what I think people have to understand about people pleasing, because I see a lot of memes and stuff out there like, and I'm like, it's who you are, you're a giving person, but you can do it in such a more strategic way that you can give and receive at the same time.
Yeah, we were just kind of talking about this, but the holidays are coming up. And so I've had a very, very crazy busy schedule lately. And so I had to tell my virtual assistant, I was like, hey, holidays are coming up. I need my calls. We have to stop scheduling me on podcasts. Stop. I have like probably about 25 back episodes right now for the podcast, which is amazing. That's what like every podcaster wants. But there just becomes a time like you need a break in the holidays. I feel like we all have so many emotions, whether it's joy and happiness and we fill it up with a bunch of activities, or maybe we have negative thoughts when it comes to the holidays. And so I feel like no matter what strong emotion you have in those 2 months, November and December, I would encourage you to maybe make sure that your calendar around those 2 months is less and that you're not doing as much and that you're preparing now. And that way you can afford it financially, mentally, and you're really prepared. Something that you mentioned was, are you fully present with those clients, right? And so I was actually thinking yesterday, I was making a bagel, funny enough, and I burnt it. I burnt a bagel. I was like, who does that first off? I was like, it's because I wasn't in the present. I wasn't focusing on what I was doing because I was thinking about all my clients and all my to-dos and all the things. This is how I know that I am heading for burnout. Like I am 100% aware I've gone through burnout. I am preparing for it to make sure that my calendar is lessened and I have some trips planned. So hopefully I don't hit, but I am on that path and I recognize it. So these are you running into things? Are you extremely overwhelmed? What are some other signs people might have when they might be on the verge of burnout?
Oh, well, I have a better one for you. And it has to do with food. I have now lost broccoli and chicken, right? So like, I don't know. I put them in a bag and then somehow I'm a magician and it's like, and I'm like looking high, looking low, like I still don't know. It's still a mystery. And so, but here's the thing, I think accepting that, like you're saying now, like, oh, these are signs.
Yeah.
Knowing your personal signs. It could be a loss of focus. Sometimes I've seen people become hyper focused. You're just really into it. But if we sit back and we say, okay, what did you learn? What did you get? You realize you're like, oh, it wasn't, I was so trying to get through it. Maybe that's a better thing. Your mind is focused on getting through it. You think you're retaining things, but when you look back or you're thinking about it, you're making notes, you're like, probably wasn't listening. Another thing is skipping meals, not drinking water, not taking good care of your physical health because you're trying to get things done. Because if you're able to stop yourself long enough, it's like, if I stop doing this to eat, I'm not going to get back to it. That's kind of the mindset. It's the call it almost like the grinding mindset, which is so celebrated, but also it's something that will just completely burn you out. And as people pleasers, we're predispositioned for that anyway. We're predispositioned for that. Give me more. I can do more. Let me show you. Let me prove to you what I can do because I can do more. So we already have this sort of, like I said, a predisposition, like we're already like in this mode anyway. So that need to do more, that drive to do more. Like I said, for me, I have my own, personal alarms called anxiety and depression. And they come, I worry a lot more, a whole lot of, they call them cognitive distortions, but especially about the future. So they said depression's focused on the past, anxiety's focused on the future. So I tend to ruminate about the future. Okay, if I don't do this, this, right? But I now recognize those thoughts as anxious thoughts. And when I start thinking with that anxious mind, I'm out. I don't, it doesn't take much for me to realize, okay, I'm not thinking with my logical mind. So that's one thing to pay attention to as well. How is your thinking? What are you thinking about as you take on this project? Or if I don't do this, like you're saying, November, December's coming up, I need to make sure I make this much money, this. Now, not saying that's not a legitimate thought. What I'm saying is that don't let that drive you. Okay, what other things can you do that are better for you in this moment that will help you make money. There's got to be something else that you can do. So those are some of the things that I look at, like how you think, losing food or just losing things. I mean, we tend to forget things, but like you're saying, you burnt the bagel. I completely lost track of things. That's a sign. That's a sign. And also that thinking that I have to, if I don't do this, this and this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. That's your mind. You're working in that burnout space. And you gotta stop it, even though it's so hard and it's scary too.
Another big one that came to mind as you were talking is if you're a parent losing patience with your children. I think that is one of my first signs, is that
Yes.
I will maybe be too quick to snap instead of figuring out what's actually going on. Like my son told me the other day, he was like, "I'm so mad at you, Mom." And I was like, "Why?" I was like, and he's like, "Because you just blamed me for something that I didn't even do. And it was an accident. And his pen went into a thing of milk, but he was angry right before it. So I thought he just threw the pen into a bowl of milk and it splashed all over me and our homework." So I was very frustrated. And he's like, "But Mom, I tripped. You didn't see me trip, even though you were looking at me." And I was like, oh man, he doesn't know how to tell a lie. So I can tell you right now, he was not trying to lie. He's only 6, but you could catch a lie on his face in 1 minute. So I felt so bad. I was like, I'm not paying attention, but I'm giving out punishment. And so that's one of the things I try not to do, is like, I try to be aware of all the different facts and things, because things happen in life. And I didn't in that because I was so overwhelmed. I had so much on my mind, and I kept saying yes to people and saying, yes, I'll do this for you. Yes, I'll do that. Even though I have a whole team, I was saying that. So now I'm trying to be like, oh, my team can do it, right? Because I really, like you said, I shouldn't have to prove what I can do for them. And there's a more strategic way that I can go about that. And that's utilizing, all of my employees that I have, or, creating those boundaries. So I think that's really important that you said.
Yeah, it's a transition from being that person that did everything and had their hands in everything and was thinking of everything, to letting it go and letting it do what it do, right? So it's even you trust people to keep the vision, but it can also be difficult because you're having to trust people to keep the vision. But as we kind of move from that people pleaser to what do I want? What do I want this to look like? Like I said, we can become more plugged in, more intentional, more present minded, and we can honor that. No, I said I'm not going to do it, and know that not only means not doing it, that means handing it to somebody else and not worrying about it. That's where I want the people I work with to get to. Now, you don't feel guilt about it, you don't feel shame about it, but you aren't sitting there biting your fingernails, afraid that this person is going to completely screw up what you do. And again, that's where people pleasing comes from. It's a form of control. It's a way to control your environment by kind of, this is what I give out, this is what I'm not going to get, and this and this and this, but it very quickly gets out of control. And dismantling the people pleaser is dismantling so many things that we were taught in childhood, what we learned in adulthood. And as we move towards middle and later adulthood, it's about, like I said earlier, it's about changing that narrative. It's about getting those good people around you. And like I said, letting them do what they do best. And it's not easy. It is not easy, but I think it's necessary to living a life where we aren't constantly giving out.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. And there are so much more that goes into this. So how can people find you if they need your services, if this is something that they're really struggling with?
Yes, the best place to find me is on my Facebook page. It is Limitless Empowerment with Rhonda J. And you can message me there. My website is, it's still a process. I'm building it now. It's up. It's a www.limitlessrhondaj.net. So you guys can find me there. Oh, and then you can always email me. I'm always there at info@limitlessrhondaj.net.
Perfect. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes as well. Well, thank you so much for coming on Virtual Antics today, Rhonda. It's been so much fun.
Yes, I've had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And we'll see you guys next time.